think Alderman Went had a question.
Thank you. So I was looking at the list of the positions subject to transition, and some of them are just moving from one department to the other. But you discussed if we were going to reorganize, then finding those people positions elsewhere. I mean, I have some concern. I don't want to put anybody out on the street, especially now with everything that's going on. But in your experience in the past, have most organizations been able to find a place? Because there seems to be a number of people there, and if not, or even if they do, what is, like, I guess, for lack of a better word, the breakage? Like, how many of those people wind up then taking jobs at other communities or those sorts of things? I just don't. I don't think that any of us have any indication that we're going to let anybody go or lay anybody off or fire anybody, even if you do this, which I hope that's not your recommendation. But how does that actually functionally work or has worked in the past?
I can't give you percentages. Maybe Katie will be able to, but I will say this. Those employees that leave typically choose to leave themselves. You can offer offer other positions of maybe even of comparable pay. You know, maybe not. Maybe it's not quite the same pay. But I think where you have a situation where an employee does not take advantage of that, they've made a decision to leave because they have their own personal goals and they want to stay in the field that they're currently in. I don't know, Katie, do you have a sense of any percentages or anything like that?
No, I don't have a percentage per se. Many communities have been offering early retirement incentives, so that allows opportunities for reallocation or reconsideration or realignment of employees that they might be considering to shift to a different alternative service delivery. I'm thinking back into 2008 in the community that I was managing, and we cut staff. We actually cut staff by 15 or 20%, and that was extremely painful to the organization. I would never wish that upon anyone. And in that sense, what we did is we ended up having to provide them separation pay. And so, as you proceed to evaluate what is a good service delivery model for Moline, you do have to consider if you're going to rip a Band-Aid off, so to speak, or if you're going to provide a nice alternative transition, if you have that opportunity.
So I'd like to follow up on what Mike is touching on there. I think that there's a strong sentiment with this council to make sure that our staff here understands that their role in the organization, although it may change, their livelihood, we can protect. And so I don't know how to word that in a resolution, and I'm not asking for a motion or anything today, but I would like to share that sentiment with staff. I believe that the council shares my feelings regarding that we can find our way with our team. And, some of them will have to be exposed to the stress of change, which is very stressful, but they shouldn't have to be exposed to the stress of worrying about the livelihood for their family. And so if we could to modify that would be great. I think a little feedback, maybe somebody.
It's Berg. It's Berg.
Is it? Hey, Sonia.
I'm here.
So, does anybody have any opposition to that?
No, I think that's a great idea.
Okay,
Great
so
idea.
Marty, we'll lean on you and Dirk to come up with something that makes sense to make sure that our team understands that their livelihoods are secure here. Alderman Schoonmaker.
Two comments. I would further that. I think Mark said something about salary being affected. I would think we would not want to affect salary. So even if somebody is moved to takes a position that might not be at the same salary they're at, I think we should still support their salary. That's part of, being part of the team, moving.
I see a lot of nods to that, so I would say one consensus
And
on
so
that.
I would just hope that we would find ways to do that and obviously, support the transitions and however we can with additional training. If that means we have to fund some additional training to make employees comfortable in different positions, we certainly should be, willing to reach out and do that. And then I also just wanted to comment on the position that they're proposing and the assistant city administrator. The same thought was in my head, that is one position, and part of that position, because we've long thought, or at least, going on a year now, thought that was an important role. And it just kind of helps us define what that position will be, or part of what it will entail. So I think that's good information, but I think it dovetails nicely together.